Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Tobin Talks. Today we are going to talk about what a seller and a real estate broker need to disclose to a buyer in a real estate transaction. And for purposes of today's Tobin Talk, we're going to talk about residential property only. We are not going to talk about commercial. That's got a different standard. But when it comes to what a seller and a real estate broker need to disclose, let me first tell you the law. For the most part, the law in residential real estate is Caveat Emptor, which is Latin for buyer beware. Buyer, you need to do your due diligence. It's up to you. There's not a legal responsibility on the seller. However, over time in Florida, the Supreme Court has ruled, and it's been the law in the state for many, many years, that a buyer is obligated to do their due diligence. It is Caveat Emptor, buyer beware, except for the following, and that's what we're going to talk about today. A seller and a real estate broker for the seller, a listing agent, must, in the state of Florida, disclose the following. Number one, known hidden or latent defects. What does that mean? Something that the seller knows about that the buyer couldn't find out about. Something that's hidden or latent on the property. Couldn't be readily or reasonably ascertainable by the buyer. Okay, so we're talking about something like a hole in the foundation or in the floor that has come from some condition over time that the seller knows about, but covered up, literally covered up a hole, and something that a buyer and their inspector wouldn't be obligated to reasonably ascertain in their inspections. So it's a known hidden or latent defect that the buyer could not materially or reasonably ascertain that affects the value of the real property. There you have what a seller and a real estate broker for a seller are obligated to disclose. Now let's talk about the documents. Almost always, and we've done a previous Tobin talk on the FAR bar as is contract. That contract makes the buyer do their inspections and decide yes or no during a set amount of time. That's where the language is clear that it's an as-is contract and that the seller has the obligation to disclose. But very often a real estate broker, agent, will want a seller to fill out a seller's disclosure form. It's a standard FAR, Florida Association of Realtor form, that is just in the same contract library that a broker has all their other forms in, and the seller discloses in writing all the conditions of the property, and that then relieves the seller and the real estate broker from any disclosure requirements because they've given the buyer the disclosure form in writing. Oftentimes the buyer will want that as well. It's very valuable information for a buyer. So there you have it. You have the law on the seller and broker's obligation or duty to disclose. You have the forms that are involved, and you know enough about that now to really go on and make a difference. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it and you want to learn more, please subscribe to Tobin Talks, and we'll see you soon. Take care.